Sometimes I look at teams in the NFL and I'm astounded by their stubborn stupidity. And then there are other times I look at certain like coaches or players or executives, general managers, and I say to myself, what the hell do they have in their back pocket against the owners that allows them to continue to have this spot? Because I don't fucking get it. It's the same shit I used to say about bean counting Ted Phillips and the fact that he was able to be the Bears team president for over 20 damn years. I know what the history was. He bailed the McCaskies out of some IRS tax trouble in the early 90s. It doesn't necessitate letting him be the team president for 20 plus years. But that type of shit happens, right? We all know it. We're all fans of teams, and there's players on those teams that you know suck, and for some reason the coaching staff wrongly always has more faith and confidence and belief in than they fucking should. We always see this shit. That's always a pain point. But I look at the Colts in 2022, and it astounds me that Chris Ballard, the general manager, didn't get a lot more criticism, because he deserves it. Like, he went down the Phillip Rivers path and rented him for a year, and that kind of worked, but it didn't lead very far. It's just a playoff appearance, early exit. Then sits there and says, we'll go trade for Carson Wentz. And then you do Carson Wentz in 2021, and that shit doesn't work out. So instead of saying, hey, maybe let's rethink this a little bit, they go to the well again and say, let's bring in Matt Ryan because that's going to work. The true definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting the results to be any damn different. But here Chris Ballard fucking goes. Not surprisingly, shit didn't work. And it led to Frank Reich getting fired during the season. You remember all the drama about Jeff Saturday coming from ESPN to be the interim head coach? Oh, good God. You know, deep down, I almost wonder if this is kind of what the kids call it, a meta play here by team owner Jim Irsay. He wanted a young quarterback, and he said, I'm going to hire the most incompetent guy I know, Jeff Saturday. Let's bring him in. You don't know what the fuck he's doing. He'll be bought into the plan. He'll help us tank. If you look at the Colts at the end of the year, sure, it looked like they were fucking tanking. You know, they even refused to keep playing Matt Ryan, right? They lost their last 7 games. Well, Jeff Saturday then tried to overcome that. But they lost their last 7 games, finished 4-12-1. And you know the Colts are sitting there with that 4th overall pick, and you're wondering what they're going to do. Will they be able to get a quarterback? Are they going to go with a quarterback? And I think no matter what, there was going to be an edict, a mandate coming down from Jim Irsay to Chris Ballard say, it's a quarterback no matter damn what. Now, in the offseason, I did like their hire of Shane Steichen to be the new head coach. He comes from the Philadelphia Eagles, where he was the offensive coordinator under head coach Nick Sirianni. He worked with Jalen Hurts quite a bit, and you saw the development in Jalen Hurts over the past 3 years. Yes, big fan of this particular head coaching hire for the Colts. And, you know, for this Colts organization, they need a lot of help. That's why they had the 4th overall pick. They signed Matt Gay, helping to solve some of their kicking woes. Signs Samson Ebukam. He can be an edge rusher that they need. Gardner Minshew's brought in to mentor whatever rookie quarterback they drafted. Got Isaiah McKenzie so they can have him in the slot. But it was ultimately all about the draft for this team. And with that 4th overall pick, they swung for the fences with Anthony Richardson, the quarterback from Florida. And I love this damn pick for them. Yo, I had C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson graded like this in terms of my top 2 quarterbacks in this year's draft class. But by far, my favorite quarterback prospect to watch was Anthony Richardson. I know my history has been that I always get enamored by the guys that have the physical tools, right? The arm strength, the size, the mobility, the athleticism. Hey, but that shit plays, right? And that's not all it takes to be a quarterback. But, you know, the more you watch Anthony Richardson in college, even when you look at some of the accuracy issues and so forth, you saw some advanced processing ability for a guy that didn't have a lot of game experience. You saw some feel for the position that you wouldn't get for guys with so little starting experience. And when you take that and combine that with those tremendous physical gifts, you know, I put it like this, and I said, hey, if I told you Anthony Richardson was going to be Cam Newton, where would you take him in this draft? And most everybody would probably say, yeah, compared to the other quarterbacks, I'd take him number 1 overall. And the Colts were able to get him at 4. They didn't have to trade up to do him. They could just sit there and had Richardson fall to him. Like, it was magnificent, right? And it really paid off when the Texans traded back up from 12 to 3 with that other first-round pick they had to go get Will Anderson. The Colts knew they were in like Flint. And, like any other picks I could talk about here, it's the Anthony Richardson one. That's the only one that matters. But that makes the Colts so much more exciting now because his upside is intriguing. And I'm glad they're actually giving him a chance. I'm glad they're giving him a chance. I'm glad they're not sitting there and going the old Matt Nagy, well, you gotta sit on the bench to watch and learn. That's fucking dumb, and teams need to stop that crap. In terms of this team this year, what I look at as their biggest strengths, the defensive line, DeForest Buckner, Kwity Paye, Ebukam, that's a pretty solid defensive front. Not spectacular, but it's solid. It's foundation. We'll see how the whole thing plays out with Jonathan Taylor as the season goes along, but let's just say he's out the first 4 games, but if he does come back to play for this team in 2023, he's still a monster. And he's going to be a monster, especially in a potential contract year, right? So this is a team that with him will be able to run the ball. I also look at head coach Shane Steichen. Like I said, I was impressed with how the Eagles were able to develop Jalen Hurts the past couple of years, how they were able to customize the offense around Jalen Hurts and his skill sets. And, Steichen played a big part of that. It wasn't just Nick Sirianni, the head coach, had all the control there. Steichen was incredibly involved. So I love the fact that they said, hey, we've got this raw, toolsy quarterback that we're now pairing with this head coach that has worked with a quarterback that needed some work but had some real upside. I love that combination. I think Steichen's going to be a good presence for this Colts team, at least in the short term. In terms of questions, I could look all over this team. I mean, their offensive line is solid, but their receiving core, you've got Michael Pittman, but not a lot else unless you think second round pick Josh Downs is going to play third round pick. Their secondary's really soft, not a great team still. And then Anthony Richardson, what's he going to do as a rookie? Because he has so little starting experience from college. There are going to be growing pains, and how patient are they going to be? How much are they going to be able to minimize some of those mistakes? How comfortable are they going to be when he makes the inevitable mistakes? This is a really good case study in, look at everything the 49ers did with Trey Lance, this raw, toolsy quarterback with limited experience, and then do the exact fucking opposite and it might work out. What 49ers did, fucking stupid and potentially killed the chance at a dynasty. What the Colts are doing, supporting Anthony Richardson, giving him a chance to play from day one, can help develop a young man. That's how you do it. So this Colts team, if nothing else, because of Richardson's presence, is going to be fun and exciting this year. But they could win some games. I'm not going to get crazy and think they're a playoff team or anything like that, or threaten that division. They're not. They shouldn't be, at least. But I look at their schedule and say the first 2 weeks of the year, they host Jacksonville week 1, and then they go to Houston and take on the Texans in week 2. Hey, you want to get crazy here? Who knows with a young quarterback like that? Who knows shit happens at week 1? Teams could be pretty rusty. That's a game where an Anthony Richardson, his athletic talents can overcome some things. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that the Colts could win one of those first 2 games. They could win both of them, and all of a sudden you're talking about the Colts with Anthony Richardson at 2-0. And then you look at weeks 9 and 10. They go to Carolina and they go to New England. Those could both be potentially winnable games for this Colts team. And then you look at the end of the year. They go to Atlanta. Then the last 2 weeks of the year, they host the Raiders, who could be really bad. They host the Texans, who should be bad. Again, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this Colts team could win 7-8 games this year. I think they win 6. And if they win 6 games this year, under a new head coach with a rookie quarterback that's really inexperienced, but he shows you something that makes you think he could be the dude long term, man, the Colts are going to be coming in future years. Exciting time for the Colts organization. It really is.